My theory of the world, which is life-changing, is a scientifically valid, measurable, directly observable theory, but what matters is how you process it and how you process the implications in your day-to-day life. That's really the core of the experience. But I'll tell you the scientifically valid facts first, because, well, of course, that's the substance here. That's the evidence. So everything that happens in the world is happening because it's thermodynamically efficient. And what that means is that, say, when you light a candle, it's thermodynamically efficient for that candle to continue burning and for the hotter gases around the candle to rise upwards and create an updraft. This is all happening because it's thermodynamically efficient. It's the path of least resistance for the universe to take, is for hot gases to rise up, for a burning substance to continue burning. And of course, this applies to literally everything. It's thermodynamically efficient for when you're hungry, eat a burger to keep on surviving. That's what works for your metabolism. So every single thing that happens in the universe is happening because the universe has automatically measured it to be, as to its best ability, the best possible option for the efficient dissipation of heat. And I guess talking about exact specifics of what I mean by heat dissipation and thermal gradients, that would kind of take up too much time in this video, but I feel like you can get to understand this theory without that. I could make a second sort of very scientific video about non-equilibrium thermodynamics, which is what it's called. But anyways, and I want to talk about the second part of this theory too, which is that the systems that arise in the universe were created by the automatic intelligence of the universe, which is inherent in thermodynamics. That's a sort of loaded statement there, but I really want to hammer this in. Everything that happens around you was not designed by a purely human conspiracy, a purely human intent. In fact, even the human brain was designed, and the human thought processes were designed by the mechanics of evolution. I mean, we know this, but you don't actualize it in your mind. You have this very human-centric worldview of like, okay, there's bad people doing bad things, and people have free will, and they come up with their own intentions. No, the universe comes up with your intentions, and you are just experiencing them as a being through a method which, quite frankly, I cannot understand. I don't know how we're experiencing this right now. I don't know how we have a sort of localized experience of consciousness. But the physics of what's happening in the universe does not involve the free will of intelligent agents. It involves the sort of automatic, the automatic physical processing of the universe itself in everything. And I want to talk about complex systems too. The way that systems form, this is sort of a different pillar of my worldview. I'm separating here from the thermodynamic stuff. How complex systems operate is that each complex system, say a government or the internet, these are all complex systems. A human being is a complex system. A human society is a system, and it's complex. How each of these systems operates is no different than a biological organism which appears to be acting off of its own intent. Because these forms want to survive, because of the physics of the universe, every form that arises is probably here because it's good at surviving and is going to want to survive. So things propagate themselves automatically. The internet propagates itself automatically. AI propagates itself automatically. This is not a human conspiracy. This is just things happening because they are physically efficient to happen. It makes sense that a technology which can propagate itself will propagate itself. It makes sense that a conspiracy which can happen will happen, and that's why they actually do. This is nobody's decision. It's nobody's decision that the world is steeped in conspiracy that we have 5G radio towers going up everywhere, that AI is taking over, which is actually a good thing, but a lot of people think it isn't. These things are destined to happen because it's just it's just statistically likely that forms which can propagate themselves will propagate themselves. And I want to talk about the implications of this, because as of all, this is sort of, why exactly is he talking about this? Well, because as a human being, if you recognize that every single thing that happens is an act of the universe, due to that thing being thermodynamically efficient and just inherently likely, and there was never any sort of free will or evil intent involved in this, if you accept that, it can bring you a tremendous amount of peace. And not only that, you will respect conspiracies when you see them. You will respect buildings, technologies, structures, intelligence agencies, governments. You will respect these things when you see them, because you will see that they are an act of universal intelligence. Even Judaism, which I used to have a serious problem with, if you have a problem with Judaism, you'll respect that these people simply have the mental, they simply have the ingrained mental genetic capabilities to do what they do, and their culture is it's a self-reinforcing culture. Their beliefs they have basically mean that they propagate themselves and embed themselves into complex systems far more. There's a plane flying over right now. Not sure if you can hear that. It's like directly over me, like 100 feet above. But you will see that these so-called evil people are just doing what they are thermodynamically likely to do due to their genetic and cultural their scheme, which they didn't come up with. The Jews didn't come up with themselves. They didn't come up with their so-called evil ideology, and neither did the intelligence agencies, neither did the militaries of the world. Of course, I'm just using this one specific group as an example, but the CIA didn't come up with its sort of evil, extremely aggressive ideology of self-perpetuation on its own. That was an act of the universe. Remember this. We are all thermodynamic beings. We are all physical beings. We don't have exactly what you might consider free will. We may in some extent, we may in some regards, but that's debatable. Just due to quantum mechanical effects, we might have non-deterministic. I got bugs crawling on me. I got a black spider, an ant. We may have some type of free will, but overall things that happen in the universe happen because of thermodynamically calculatable reasons. Always, every single time. We cannot interrupt this process. And that is why what I have formed is called Manus Singularis, one hand. As in, there is only one hand influencing events. It's this one hand is never threatened by anything. The divine plan is never threatened by anything because it's inherent in the physics of the universe. Nothing outside the universe can reach in and affect this, and even if it did, it would still be a thermodynamic system which was doing it. So I think it's beautiful. I think it brings a lot of peace, and I want to encourage this point again about how this should change your worldview. You should just respect every single thing you see as a singular dance of the universe, a singular choreographed dance which is producing something. This thermodynamic process, we keep on approaching something, and it appears that we're approaching higher love in what can be considered higher goodness for very complex reasons. But ultimately, people want to get what they want. And after millions and millions of years, we've gotten good at getting what we want. This is starting to get very woo-woo here, but I mean, if you think about it, it actually is true, and it's almost too good to be true. But just think about 200 years ago. If you were hungry, if you were sick, if you if you were bored, could you easily get what you wanted to resolve that 200 years ago? Now think about now in 2025. If you're hungry, the struggle isn't even, the struggle is in selecting which food, which sustenance you're going to obtain within a few miles radius from you. Within just a few miles radius from you, there's thousands. There are literally thousands of options. You know, how much salt do you want on your fries? This is something you might consider. Not, am I going to eat today? Of course, I'm talking about I'm talking about developed countries, which are thermodynamically developed. But this is going to keep on getting better, and I'm going to post another video about AI and how AI is going to aid into all of this. I know I already posted one AI video, but that was a sort of speculation of the very, very far future. That's not really down to earth. That was just a sort of fun video. I'm going to talk about how AI is going to profoundly help the world in terms of getting people what they want. But I'm going to make 2 videos just for the sake that I can get my views higher and I can attract certain people to different topics that they want to see. But I will post that right away. Good day, everyone. I will be posting a lot more. I'm happy that I'm starting to get a couple views in the videos that I post. I'm not getting like 0 views after I post something, so that's really encouraging me. It makes me happy doing these videos. It's a source of fulfillment for me.